Weeks time, I think. I think it's the best record we've ever made, which I don't always believe when you finish. By the time the records come out, I'm normally finding fault with them already.
What if pop's most beloved star was hiding something far more complicated than anyone ever realized? What if the glittering lights, the million-selling records, and the perfectly crafted image were all part of a story no one dared to question? Until now? In April 2025, the music industry was blindsided. What began as a routine interview with Elvis Costello quickly spiraled into a cultural earthquake. Unfiltered, candid, and unexpectedly raw, Costello pulled back the curtain on a decades-old chapter of music history, a chapter long buried, long avoided. In just a few striking sentences, he shattered the polished legacy of Agnetha Faltskog, ABBA's golden girl, a voice adored by millions, a symbol of pop perfection. And yet, what he revealed was anything but perfect. She wasn't just a star, he said. She was a product, a puppet in a pop machine. According to those present, the room fell silent. The industry and the internet followed suit. It was the first time in years anyone had spoken openly about Agnetha, not as the smiling icon from ABBA, but as someone, far more complex. Who was the real Agnetha Faltskog? And why had this story remained untold for so long? To understand, we have to return to a moment lost in the haze of pop history. In 1979, ABBA was at the height of its powers. Their music dominated international charts, flawlessly produced, immaculately performed. To the public, they were untouchable. But behind the scenes, a very different musical revolution was taking place. Punk had arrived. It was loud, unrefined, furious. A direct challenge to everything ABBA represented. Leading the charge was Elvis Costello, a sharp-witted provocateur with no interest in the glossy illusions of mainstream fame. And then, one night, their paths crossed. At an exclusive London industry party, filled with record executives, rock legends, and the unrelenting buzz of ambition, Agnetha and Costello met for the first and last time. At first, it was polite, superficial, but that didn't last. Costello, never one to pull punches, reportedly looked Agnetha in the eye and said, "You're not an artist. You're a brand, manufactured for mass consumption." Gasps followed. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Witnesses said Agnetha's expression changed. Her smile disappeared, replaced by something cold, hard, and sharp. She answered him, voice raised, words lost in the surrounding tension. Then she turned and walked out. They never spoke again. Most would have forgotten the moment, but Costello didn't. Years later, he would reflect not on her fury, but on something else entirely. "It wasn't her anger that struck me," he said. "It was her pain." Because behind the polished exterior, the honeyed vocals, the carefully curated image, Costello claimed to see someone fragile, someone desperate for control in a world that refused to grant it. And over time, others began to say the same. Behind closed doors, Agnetha's story began to darken. Her reputation in the music industry became increasingly fraught. Tales surfaced of difficult studio sessions. Some said emotionally charged, others outright hostile. Several producers claimed they had walked out in frustration. A few refused to ever work with her again. One particularly high-profile project, a duet with Phil Collins, was allegedly canceled, not due to logistics, but because Agnetha refused to cede any creative control. To her most loyal fans, this was conviction, artistic integrity in its purest form. But to those in the room with her, it was something else entirely. They used words like arrogant, cold, impossible to please. Within Sweden's tight-knit music scene, the whispers grew louder. Some insiders described her as paranoid. Others called her emotionally unpredictable, even cruel when under pressure. One anonymous collaborator described her as brilliant and terrifying. Still, she remained silent, detached, distant. And then, just as the noise reached a fever pitch, she disappeared. Until 2004. After nearly a decade away from the spotlight, Agnetha returned with a new solo album, My Coloring Book. The anticipation was electric. Fans rejoiced. A comeback tour was announced. Press lined up, eager to hear from the woman who had once defined pop royalty. And then, without explanation, it all fell apart. The tour was canceled, appearances dropped, interviews postponed indefinitely. And Agnetha? Gone, again. No statement, no reason. Just silence. What happened? Was it stage fright, mental exhaustion, or something far more private? Something no one outside her inner circle would ever understand? Today, the world is still asking, was Agnetha Faltskog a misunderstood genius, one crushed by pressure, misunderstood by peers, and shielded from empathy by her own perfectionism? Or was she a creative force who spiraled into self-destruction, unable or unwilling to let anyone else in? And what did Elvis Costello truly see that night in 1979? Was it arrogance, vulnerability, or a glimpse into a reality far removed from the world's illusion of ABBA? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. This isn't just a story about music. It's a story about fame, about identity, about what happens when a woman becomes the product of her own success and the toll that takes behind the scenes. The deeper we look, the more complex it becomes. And this is just the beginning. If you're ready to uncover the truth behind pop's most carefully guarded legacy, stay tuned. Because some stories aren't just untold, they were never supposed to be heard at all.